Stoxpoker, I've got a big treat for you guys today. Sitting here with me is none other than my brother Jesse, playing under Ramadera. We've had a few drinks and decided it was time to make a video.
Greetings, everyone. It's a genuine pleasure to be here. I don't remember the contents of this
Okay,
video.
that's plenty.
All right, remember that then.
Let's do it.
Excellent.
Let's do this. Now, we're just going to look at this like a normal hand history. This is a 55 buy-in game, correct?
That is indeed correct.
So I remember not so long ago when you were playing the micro stakes, $5 and $10 games. I know a lot of other guys out there are currently playing those stakes and want to move up like you did. What was your journey like?
Well, I started with $1 and $3, mainly the $3 ones, with an illustrious bankroll of $45. And basically the key was, okay, $3, essentially pocket change, but you need to treat it like a real investment. You really need to give it your all and treat it like it's stakes that you really care about. And be patient. Over time, your bankroll will build, and as it can accommodate, go up in stakes.
All right, great answer. I got a few follow-up questions, but it looks like on hand number 2 we've already hit something interesting. Now, any thoughts on the raise? Does this matter a lot, or is it just, you don't want to call here, right?
As a matter of fact, I would not mind a call. Truth be told, he could re-raise, and that would be plenty cool for me as well.
Awesome. But you yourself would never just flat call here, would you?
Oh, no, never.
Are you happy with Bob the Plum's move?
It seems a little excessive, but no, I do not object and anticipate a call in the near future.
Okay, now, this being a 55, we're not expecting total junk. So what are we thinking? Like, maybe a queens and jacks, maybe queens and ace kings, something like that?
Well, no matter what he has, I think it's really rough that he's pushed all in with so little in the pot. But no, I'm going with a decent pocket pair. I think if it's something really good, he would most likely not push there, try to build the pot up. Now we see his kings. Kings surprises me. I was expecting maybe like 9s, 10s.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Guys will often play the high pocket pairs a little slower, wanting some action. So, and the ace queen is maybe a little rough here, huh?
The ace queen's patently absurd.
Okay, so you guys have heard it straight from Ramadera. Don't go all in on the second hand with ace queen, particularly when the action has been a 3-bet, an all-in, and action is on you.
A fold perhaps would have been a superior play, but what do I know? I'm half drunk.
Okay. Well, we've set a tone for an excellent video. And I wanted to ask you, Ramadera, I know that you used to be a losing player like myself and just about everyone I'm sure watching this. And I know you made a lot of changes to your game. What do you think were some of the most important ones?
The absolute biggest one is don't get caught up in stupid pots early on in the game. Never be afraid to fold in the early stages of the game when blinds are low. During the early stages, it's imperative to be ultra tight. If you flop top pair, you have ace-8. Is the kicker good? Who cares? Why are you even in that situation? Get out. That would definitely be the largest one. And then also, of course, on the bubble, you need to be ultra aggressive. When the blinds get big, you need to start really playing a lot more pots and play them very aggressively.
All right, great stuff. And we'll notice in this hand, Ramadera is absolutely practicing what he preaches with a fold of ace-queen on the button when we have one limper. So that epitomizes a very tight style, which is too tight for multi-table, but works just dandy in a sitting go.
Dandy's cotton candy.
Well, you didn't have to say that.
My apologies. I retract.
And that ace-10, I definitely like that fold. On the button, you could get away with that. I think in the cutoff, folding is definitely superior. Now, another thing that you've done a ton of is table selection. Is that accurate?
Oh, that's very accurate. And I found also that at times when I get cocky and I deviate from that strategy, that good things are not in the works.
All right. True. So here I'm thinking that you're probably going to 3-bet this guy.
Indeed. I expect a raise here. At least I hope I do. I feel like a total idiot.
Okay. So, and this is the type of raise that we were talking about earlier. With the high pocket pair, you don't mind action so much, and you're 3-betting him a callable amount. I might have actually raised this a bit higher because we're out of position, something like 380, 400. But the important thing is to raise. And that's exactly what you do. So,
the big thing here is that were he to just call and eights show up, I'd toss his hand very readily.
Well, good thing that he decided to put you all in.
Yes.
And with its second ace, I'm guessing we've got this. Let's see, he's got like eights. Okay. I was thinking more like queens, but what do I know? It's not like I played a lot of these or anything.
Silly amateur rookie.
Okay. So we talked a lot about playing a really tight game early. When you have a huge chip lead, like 6K during level 2, do you modify that at all?
Not particularly, no.
Okay.
Should I?
Well, you can afford to take some more chip neutral gambles. Like, for instance, if you're getting very close to 2-1 with kind of weak cards, and maybe normally you'd think that it wasn't worth risking the chips, no, you'd be a little more inclined to call. But for the most part, no, you want to stick with solid values. And guys are just going to be a lot happier to gamble with you during low blinds, but not during high blinds. So I like what I believe you're going to do here, just to keep on playing a tight game and wait for the blinds to rise before becoming really aggressive.
Yeah, that's my strategy. Excellent. I'm glad to hear that I'm not making poor plays. Very good to hear.
Awesome.
I just want to throw on real briefly one thing I found recently. Apparently I can't multitask worth my life. I started to up my volume. Things did not go well. My hat's off to these guys who can 15, 20 table and more. It's to me, it does not go well in the slightest.
All right.
Random adjunct.
No, fair enough. I mean, me too. I can end most 10 table without really doing much worse than I'm normally doing. But even that I find to be a good deal more stressful. You're making decisions all the time. So it is supposed to be a fun game too. And if your hourly rate doesn't change much, I think it's not really worth totally stressing yourself out over another table or two.
No, I definitely agree. I think for me a lot of it is greed. Oh, wow, I'm doing so good playing 2 or 3. Perhaps I can triple my earnings by going up to 10, 12 tables. Nah, it's not really working out that way for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of guys too, they'll get hooked on the bonuses. And FPPs and rakeback are a lot of fun, but they're not worth being like an idiot.
And this Grey Goose is damn good. This is a lot better than the crappy smear of Blue Label I normally drink.
All right, pretty rough. Now, this particular pot is the first one where there's been post-flop action. I know that you're not really into flops.
No, I hate them. It's the worst of the 4-letter F words, the flop.
So I think a lot of Sningo guys can agree with that. I mean, that's why we're playing Sningos. But here you decide to bet out. Now, pre-flop, it was just a check, of course. And know that the turns come, I think this is a good time to bet, right? I mean, you're betting for value here.
Yeah. If there had been a real show of strength pre-flop, I certainly wouldn't, but as is.
Okay, yeah, I mean, somebody probably would have bet a king on the flop here, so a jack is looking like it could certainly be called by maybe a pair of fives, a queen 3 type hand.
And speaking of which, don't like the queen there. Wow, I guess certainly don't like the queen there.
Yeah, absolutely. And even in that hand where we did get involved after the flop, it's just a small pot. So it was a good time, and obviously a hand like second pair is not one where we're going to get involved in a big pot.
Hey, real quick, Dave, last hand, Dave Carlson, he's a regular. He's a fairly tight player. What do you think of my fold just there of the ace-7? Being as he's only really going to get involved most likely with a good hand, with a premium hand, do you think that was overly tight?
The ace-deuce?
The ace-7, just now against the player Dave Carlson.
And the hand before this?
Yeah, when I folded ace-7, Dave Carlson, the big blind, he's a solid, fairly tight player. Do you think that was overly tight?
Well, I'm having trouble figuring out the hand that we're talking about. Is it 2 after this? We like the jack-6 hand for sure.
Yeah.
This hand? You mean with ace-deuce?
Oh, yeah, ace-deuce.
Okay, no, that's fine. I mean, low aces are kind of in the same category. No, I think that's fine. If he's more on the passive side, like tight passive during low and mid blinds, then limping is okay, as is a raise to 150 or 200. But unless you have a very strong hand, there's never a problem just folding when you're out of position like that.
Okay, cool.
Now, when you were playing this game, right now we have our stats up. Okay, these are normal stats of number of hands played, VPIP, PFR, and aggression factor. Are these the same ones that you have up when you play?
Oh, definitely. Without stats like this, I really feel lost. Some of my plays are dictated based upon these players' stats. It's an awesome tool. Anyone without it is seriously handicapping themselves.
Okay. So you've heard it straight from Ramadera. Got to get the tracking software. Smart investment. Now that Queen King, my feeling is that I like the fold from the hijack. I would sometimes play it from the cutoff and sometimes not, and I would just about always open on the button. Is that about your opening range?
Yeah, that sounds about right. As you mentioned earlier, I hate flops. You put me in a deep stack cash game, and I am going to get utterly destroyed, utterly killed. So when the blinds are low, for me to enter, I need a fairly compelling reason. And quite frankly, in that position with King Queen, that just did not meet my criteria.
Fair enough. And in this hand, I actually probably would bet the turn after he limps before the flop and checks twice. That's normally something I'll do with just about any cards, but checking down is reasonable because a jack high may be good here.
We hope.
And okay. I think that's one thing when you begin playing more heads up, you see a lot, which is that in pots where there haven't been any bets or raises, a kind of marginal high card will prove good more often than you probably suspect. Isn't this like the 20th hand at 2550? Is this a turbo?
Yeah, it is a turbo. Dear Lord, when must be over? Come on, let's let the blinds go up. I should have mentioned, I really hate the 2550 level. I just feel so awkward, uncomfortable. I really am like the more, push fold type.
400, 800, right?
Exactly. There you go. My style.
Fair enough. Now, based on the stats that we have up, it seems like Dave, as you said, is very tight. Mark looks also to be pretty tight. But before we go on about that, we've got to discuss this hand, my friend. I was expecting a fold, so let's take a look at what happens here.
Wait, I called? Wow, that must have been really high at the time.
Well, okay.
Okay.
But we've got Mark raising to 355. Now, I don't want to name names here, but it looks like you're going to call this bet now. What's going on? What's the deal?
I'm trying to figure that right now. Why did I call?
All right, now that was a pretty rough hand. When you disagree.
No, I would not. That was horribly rough. A lapse in judgment? Wow, rough. Let's pretend it didn't happen.
Fair enough. Okay. So that hand didn't We're going to plug this into Wizard afterward and look at that on the video. And I think this is fairly neutral in equity. I don't think we're going to be winning a lot. And if it is a loss, it's going to be a slight one. So I think this play is... I wouldn't mind a fold or a shove there. And we run into a monster hand, so not much you can do there.
Yeah, alas. I mean, clearly, if the guy had, say, 2,000 chips behind him, I obviously wouldn't be making the play. But being as he's fairly short stacked, and I figured that 10 queen is most likely to be best. If he has a better hand, maybe he'll draw out. I can take a loss. I don't know. I suppose it was fairly borderline, but I did it anyway, without remorse or regret. Actually, wouldn't mind an action with that hand.
Yeah, it's a pretty one.
Yeah, that would work for me. Plus, a nice change from most times I'm screaming, "Come on, Deuce," into the monitor at the top of my lungs. Do you know? Come on, Ace. A nice change.
Yeah. Now, this better be the action that I'm thinking of. Otherwise, I'm going to slap this guy.
I really hope I shove here. Otherwise, I feel like such an ass. Yes, score.
So that's another any two shove. And with deuces, I would say it's a rather happy shove.
Yes, yes. I would have shoved a lot less.
Now, I want to hear more about this chat, because you've taken chat to a whole new level. Now, give us an example maybe of how you're going to use chat to gain a strategical advantage, or just have some fun.
Yeah, I don't know if that's strategical advantage, but the deal is, if you're only doing 3 to 4 tables, you have a fair amount of downtime in between. So I'd like to comment about, say, the insolent nature of the flop, so the false promise of riches, only to be teasing you like a woman to steal it back from you. Actually, I stole that from some WSOP player. Don't remember who, but. Or, for instance, Kimbo Slice's ascent to the vice presidency. I don't know.
The Black Street Brawler?
Exactly, the bare knuckle boxer. As me strategists now assert that the key to the White House really corners around securing good old Kimbo for the number 2 position.
Man, that guy's awesome. He knocked the hell out of Tank Abbott.
That he did, which probably this day is considering that he's a middle-aged alcoholic, or, the same direction I'm heading off to be. It's not a greatest accomplishment, but yes. On a side note, I'm quite looking forward to this delightful meat feast coming up at Greenfields.
Oh, yes. I wonder if they'll give us some advertising money for plugging them. Afterward, Jesse Moshman and I are going to the Greenfield in Rockville to have a discount meat feast. Now, Jesse, do you think that they'll be giving us the shittier quality meat because it's at such an extreme discount?
Without a doubt. We're getting the sausage and the chicken first, but we will persevere and obtain the hearts, as always.
Yes, let's hope we don't get food poisoning too badly. We're going to have to tell them no raw duck this time.
That was quite the interesting meal, was it not? Cold raw duck, yes. Well, when in Rome.
Yes. Okay, now this, I assume, is an all-in?
Oh, you know it.
Now, let me ask you this. What is the weakest pocket pair that you would reshove here?
That's a good question. I would say...
Let me start with this. What do you think Markup's shoving range is here, roughly?
I think... considering he's getting a little short stack, the blind's about to hit him. I think any ace, any suited king. I think really any pair. Maybe even deuces. Really any pair. So I think I'm well ahead of his pushing range. As far as what I would call that with,
like maybe sevens?
I was gonna say eights, but yes, sevens. Eights would be an immediate. Sevens, sixes to sevens to think about. I'd say sevens is probably pretty accurate.
All right, I totally agree with what he's saying. This guy is going to be pushing pretty wide, probably even deuces. And that's a really good way to analyze these types of things. Think about his range, when you need to be ahead of that. And Rambadero, totally right on what he says. Oh, what a sucker. That's awesome, man.
the River 10. You gotta love that. I remember I jumped out of my chair with joy. I screamed, oh, hell yeah. I sucked him in. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Very nice.
And this is definitely an unexploitable shove with the suited ace. you can shove probably about 9 blinds, and that 6 or 7 blinds should be pretty immediate.
Yeah, very very obvious shove there. Very straightforward move.
And now we pretty much have a stranglehold on this table, it looks like. I mean, you'd have to do something really, really dumb here to blow this one, I'd say.
Don't put it past me. It's been known to happen.
All right.
Especially as I have a young pug by the name of Bailey, and periodically if I have to go take care of something, I'll put Bailey behind the controls. And the young hound. Sorry, my bad. the gray goose. Proceed, yes.
Okay, so get your dog to play for you. Now, this should be a shove. You're going to shove this, right? Would you shove an E2 here?
Dear
Yes.
Lord. Yes, please. Hope this may be a misclick. It might be a misclick and it may have folded. Oh, no, misclick.
Listen. Okay, if you didn't make any mistakes, there'd be no point looking at this video. Guys, this is an any 2 card shove for sure. We'll look at that with the wizard. But the thing about it is that the 300 on the table, you're risking 1,500 to get it. That's like 8 blinds. And Dave is going to be calling pretty tight. There are 2 guys shorter than him. It looks like he's going to be making the money. So you're definitely a sharp profit shoving 2 cards. And the suited 3-4 is weak. But it's not totally hopeless, right?
No,
You can straight or flush that.
Besides, I always chase the flush to the river. You know, I mean, hey, it's just what I do. Not really. That was in jest.
Okay.
Before him, flush chaser.
Now, this is one where I would 3-bet all in. And the reason that I would do that is because Eggman looks like he's for sure going to be moneying, okay, even after making this raise. So I think he's going to need a very strong hand to call an all-in 3-bet. And at the same time, on the off chance he does call it, our hand isn't totally hopeless. And there's a good number of chips, like over a K to win immediately. So I kind of like the 3-bet. What do you think?
I think in retrospect, I'm coming off an absolutely atrocious downswing, and I hate to say it, but I think that was playing some scared poker. Here I have a really good chip stack, and I'm thinking, wow, I don't want to blow it, want to keep everyone else low, and being as I'd recently suffered so many bad beats, unexpected calls, showdowns against unexpected monsters, I think I was committing a cardinal sin and playing scared. You're right, I should have pushed all in.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, it does take some time to get off tilt, so it's not totally egregious. What would be egregious, though, would be folding these 10s. You're not going to do that, right?
Dear Lord, if I do, that's going to be absolutely ugly.
And now, with the antes as well, we have starting pots of 400. Okay, so that's like playing a tilt game with blinds of around 120, 240, or just over that. And this is looking like it's got to be a pot odds call, right? I mean...
Oh, totally. I know. No, I'm dead serious. If I fold this, it was honestly a misclick. I clearly called this one.
Very nice.
Yes.
So we're getting over 2-1 with a face card, and this guy's going to be shoving very widely. So even though we lose that, that's definitely the correct call. It'll be a clear mistake to fold there.
Even if I knew what he had, I'd still call.
Yes. Very good point.
I need to know that he had queens or better before I'd fold that. And
yes.
Clearly that's highly unlikely, so.
Very good. It's true.
Ooh, nice. I really think I need to go up as far as the quality of the liquor that I drink. I mean, I'm feeling absolutely degenerate to be sitting there in front of the screen sipping a half pint of Smirnoff Blue Label at 12 noon when I could be drinking Grey Goose.
Man, we'll hook you up. No worries.
Nice. Ooh, ace jack. Nice hand.
Yeah, no, I would actually go ahead and just shove this because I really don't want to gamble. I'd much rather just take the blinds here. If he does call, which is unlikely, I'm not too interested in playing a flop out of position, and I'd probably just shove here. But, raising is fine. I do prefer the shove.
I guess the reason why I called is just because he had roughly 13 times, roughly 14 times the big blind. But you're right.
That's a misconception. Okay, whoa. Okay, so let's go back here. No, hold on.
Let's do it. No, I'm a work in progress. I'm still learning. Let's see.
No, he's a good player, guys. But
No, I got a ways to go.
Just check this out here. like I was just saying, we got a starting pot of 400, right? So it's like blinds of maybe 130, 260.
Okay.
And therefore, we're dealing with just a hair over 10 blinds, effective blinds.
No, that's a good point. I never thought about that. I never examined from that angle. And clearly, if I had thought about 10 big blinds, I would have pushed there.
Yeah, no, this is a lot of times guys will go into the Harrington M when antes get involved and look at the starting pot and the ratio of the stack to the starting pot. But I just thinking about it as what the blinds would be if you looked at it in terms of a small blind and a big blind and included the ante. And in that regard, this looks like a more clear push. But the important thing is that you open the pot and it still works.
No, that's very, very useful info. I swear, I never thought about that before, and I had never done that. And I just really thought about as far as blinds. So I really learned something there just now.
All right, awesome. We've got like a PBS moment.
Ooh, queens.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
And the bubble continues. It looks like guys are really giving a lot of respect to your raises.
So silly of them.
Never happens in a home cash game.
You better believe that.
And, man, I gotta say, you play this out like a pussy. Comment.
Guilty as charged. Oh no. Let's review. I'm sorry. I was only half paying attention.
No,
let's
this guy.
again.
Yeah. Okay. Look.
Commentary, please.
Okay. This guy. I mean, look. Clearly, he's going to be in the money, right? He doesn't want to gamble. Now you check, which is fine. Okay, that's fine to check before the flop. It's fine to. I would bet the flop, but checking is fine. The only real mistake happens when you check the turn, okay? This guy has shown overwhelming weakness. He's saying to you,
you're right.
I do not like this board. There's 500 to win immediately, and he's in a spot where he really does not want to gamble. You should bet 300 here, even with your junk hand.
No, you're right. Looking at it again, I concede. I erred.
All right, fair enough. And not a huge deal, though. So, and I'm guessing the blinds are, yes, now they're at 2-4, okay.
Oh, all right, finally. Excellent. Very good. Bye-bye flops. I hate you.
Now, in this situation, obviously you're going to shove the 7-king. I know that. But if you were to be dealt like deuce 5 or some junk hand and not shove it, that would be a huge mistake. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would, just because good old Mark there has barely over 1,000 chips. I mean, Dave Carlson looking to surely money, and he's clearly a competent player. He's not going to be so moronic as to call me with, say, like a queen deuce to...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so given any realistic guess of his range, this is going to show profit shoving any 2 cards. But that's not the case in this hand, right? I mean, would you agree with that? Shoving any 2 in this hand?
No, I completely and totally agree with that. When you look at Dave Carlson's going to fold, and here this guy is getting absolutely amazing odds. He's just about blinded out. His call-in range is very, very wide, if not actually any 2. Very wide call-in range.
Yeah, it probably should be any 2. I think based on observation, guys will definitely fold you sometimes, but I wouldn't shove any 2. I think I would want some kind of value there. So I think the weakest queen hand I would shove would be like queen 8. And even folding that would be fine.
And a side note, I'm very glad I folded there. I was terrified I was going to have to be ridiculed in front of all of Poker Stock's audience. Excellent. Good fold, Ron Badera. You go.
Yeah, no, apparently you guys are now a member of Poker Stocks. So that's...
Stoxpoker.
I kind of like actually Poker Stocks. Yeah, okay. That works.
Maybe I shouldn't have gone until I trashed for doing the video. You know, one of the two.
No, I'm curious to see what you do here. Because I'm thinking you might fold, but I want to actually go ahead and shove this.
I'm curious to know what you did as well. Let's see what I did.
Nice job, man. So why do you think you shove this? At least watching it now, why do you like to shove?
I guess it's because everyone folded. No, no, seriously. It's because I suppose Eggman folds over his name. I think Eggman, clearly, if this guy calls and loses, wow, here he is. He is assured to money, if not come in second. I mean, for him, he would need a really premium hand. Were I him, I would fold some really, really big hands.
Right, and Mark as well, right? Mark is going to need a big hand to call, and Dave is going to hope that these guys call and get eliminated.
Oh, clearly.
So we're just hoping, we're just looking at the remaining stacks in the positions and saying, this guy's going to fold, this guy's going to fold, and this guy's going to fold.
And on the off chance to get a caller, you know, it sucks. It's horrible, but at the same time, a suited ace deuce, it's not like it's a 2-6 offsuit.
Yeah. You know, even against a monster hand, you're probably not going to be worse than 2-1 dog.
Exactly. And the chances of everyone folding are extremely higher than that.
Yeah. Now here getting 5-1, you're going to show a chip profit here if you have more than about 16% equity in the pot. And with a 3-8, my guess is that you would. But I don't think this is a super important hand. I think I would lean a little toward calling. And actually, I mean, I say 16% equity, but they weren't all in, so there could be a side pot. So I think that's very legit. And we're not too disappointed. Normally, obviously, you gain a lot of equity when one guy gets eliminated. But here with these 3 equal stacks, I mean, now you can terrorize them, right?
Oh, completely and totally. And with my chip stack of around 7 thou, actually...
Oh,
no!
Do I have to say it?
Rewind. Do over.
So this is a huge mistake. This guy's going to call very tight, and you show big profit shoving any 2. And I know Ramadera realizes that no, but just for you guys watching this, we'll definitely look at Wizard and see how wide he'd have to be calling for this not to show a profit.
No, that was a horrible mistake. I mean, it was absolutely egregious. I mean, that dude would have needed like aces or kings to call me. Horrible mistake.
No, not that wide, but yeah, he need a hand.
Yeah.
No, this is another, okay. I guess folding here, yeah, folding there is fine. That's another one we'll look at, but
I mean, pushing across everyone with a 3-6 offsuit. Okay, maybe I should have, but that was not nearly as egregious as one guy with.
Yeah, I mean, by far the most important ones are going to be these small blind shoves. And so this looks like it's really a question of pot odds, right? This hand.
Let's go back. What are my odds?
Poker Office is 2.4 to 1.
Yes. Yeah, totally. If I'm getting better than 2 to 1, there are situations where I'll lay down 2 to 1 odds, but they're few and far between. And clearly
awesome.
That's not.
That's straight from Shinnigo strategy. I can certainly relate to that. And again, he has the better hand, but that's a correct call, particularly with the mid queen.
And by the way, there's something I learned in the book. Prior to reading the book, I did not know that. I made some horrible equity plays, folding hands, and I was getting 3 to 1 or the like. It's embarrassing, but I'm reformed.
All right, good man. This is a long game, man.
Yeah, it is. Dear Lord, when's this be over?
Okay, 3 king. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's fine. Eggman needs to grow some balls.
Yeah, he does. He's second in command. He's trying to fold his way into second. Oh!
Okay.
Now, should I have pushed there?
Yeah, I'd shove there. I mean, again, we'll look at that one, but my feeling is that shoving with effective stacks of around 5 blinds in the button is similar to around 10 blinds in the small blind, and I think these guys are going to call pretty tight. So a 10 high isn't hopeless. I'd go ahead and shove that.
Now, I'm feeling like I'm going to ask right now after my spiel, I became a winning player by taking advantage of the bubble with my hyper-aggressive, and now I'm folding everything. Yes, well, shit. Hang my head in shame. What can I say?
It's all good.
Hey, work in progress. Ever improving.
Okay, Ace 9, we're going through that one a little quick. Let's take a look. And so here you're getting just over 3 to 2 on the call. And are you mainly thinking about pot odds? What's going through your mind when you make this call?
All right, let me take a look at this.
Like, what do you think Dave Carlson is pushing here, roughly?
Well, I mean, I suppose my take on this at the time is that I have been tightening up. I've been folding clearly, obviously, more often than I should have. And I'm thinking, look, if he can just make a couple pushes, if he can take down some pots, it's really ensuring that he's going to place in this when everyone's fairly evenly stacked. And my thoughts are that I'm getting pretty good odds. The table's been pretty tight. Dave Carlson's type of guy who could quite possibly, most likely, pick up on this. And yeah, pot odds on that.
Okay, well, I mean, I think that's reasonable. My guess here would be that in terms of aces, he'd be shoving maybe any suited ace, ace 7 offsuit, any pocket pair, any decent 2 Broadway cards would be about the range that I put him on. And given that and the 3-2 odds, I think this is a fine call. It's not one that I'd be, gleefully hitting the call button,
But you'd make the same call.
well, yeah, I think I would. Yeah, I'd call here.
Borderline, very borderline.
It depends on the guy, but I think that I don't think he's going to be shoving super tight. With the passive guy, you've got to weight the higher aces a lot more, and I think this guy's definitely capable of shoving with low suited aces and hands like 10 jack, because he's looking to be grinded out here. And yeah, hey, he's got a low suited ace, so looks like that was a good call.
Oh, very nice. Yes, in retrospect, I'm glad I called.
Okay, and this one, you know what? He should pretty much be calling with any two, but you will definitely see guys folding, and 10-9 is a fine hand if called, so I definitely like that shove.
Now, this is a really stupid question. Is that better than average in 9-10?
In heads up, yeah, I would say it is.
Top 50%?
Well, you're putting me on the spot a little, man, but I'll tell you what, I want to pull up Poker Stove and see what that ranks at. I would say in heads up, it's about a 50% hand. And
So then when you take into account fold equity, it was indeed a good push.
yeah, no, that's definitely the correct push. And top 50% has as weak as 10-7 off on the Poker Stove ones. So yeah, I would classify it as top 50%, and it's definitely the correct shove.
Very good.
See what this guy called with ace-6 is definitely correct. And now time for a heads-up battle. What's your strategy in a short-stacked, high-blind heads-up battle?
Well, everyone you fold, you lose a ton of chips. The chips in play, you lose a huge amount. So short stacked, I am very aggressive and, hey, try to make him gamble.
What hands are you going to shove right now?
Well, now I'm gonna look at
Okay, not in this video, but what hands, looking back, like if we were playing this live, what hands would you advise somebody to shove right now?
I'd say a jack or better, suited connectors. I mean,
Oh! Man, you shove any two, bitch.
Oh shit. Okay, I mean yes, any two. That's what I meant. Any two.
Okay, yeah, you shove any. I mean, if fact of stacks to 5 blinds, you can fold here.
You know, swig of vodka to kill that. Oh no, swig of vodka to kill the pain.
And a 5-9 isn't totally hopeless. When you do go called, it can very easily be with ace deuce, king 6, hands where you're only a 60-40 dog. So this is a definite shove.
Oh no! I meant to misclick.
Misclick, yeah. And getting 3-2. This depends a lot on where we think Eggman's shoving range is. If it were deeper, I'd fold. Getting 3-2, I would call there.
Well, I'm glad to hear I'm doing everything right. Excellent. The perfect player, indeed. Johnny Chan, here I come. I would have called there, I promise. Scout honor.
How high would the effective stacks be before that you would maybe not push this? Like right now we're dealing with 6 blinds.
You mean push it or call it?
You were the shover.
I was? Okay, good. Excellent.
Would you do it with 10 blinds?
I would do it with 10 blinds.
12?
I think it's a 13, and that's kind of where it becomes the iffy line. For 12, yes.
Okay, 12 blinds. Awesome. I totally agree with that.
I think it's because of conversation the other day when you were...
Oh, was that one of the ones I was quizzing you on?
Yeah, when you were quizzing me on. So, yeah, 13 blinds.
Listen, you're making it sound like I'm rigging this video. Okay, I quiz dudes all the time in their ICM. It's just, I can't be faulted for this.
No, it's true, it's true.
Getting 3-2 here, you know what, it's tough to say. I don't really mind either play. I'd probably call that. He shoved the last couple. I think he's shoving wide enough where that would be a profit, but...
I'm still better than 2-1 on him. Let's hope I don't screw up too bad for the rest.
Yeah, 5-10 is another shove.
Or fold, or, one of the two.
Hey, listen, it's all good, okay? We all build up. And if we were to look back on videos of my playing, well, I'd like to think that, I would have done a few more of these, but everybody, makes mistakes when you just kind of randomly look back on a game. A lot of guys that I coach who send me hand histories, I think kind of tailor pick them so they all their best plays. But this one, I just said to you today before you're coming over, bring me a hand history. And this one I think is cool. It's got a lot of real situations,
Indeed. And total coincidence, this is one where I didn't get eliminated in 5th. Wow, what a coincidence. Who would have thought?
Yeah. So based on this being 112 and a 112, I'm guessing we've got him. And yes. So
Wow.
very nice shot, man.
Wow.
$200 in the bank, huh?
Who would have thought? I won in the hand history I brought him to aired? Wow.
All right, so enough stuff. What we're going to do now is I'm going to pause this and put up Sinningo Wizard, and we're going to take a look. So
Must we really? Is that absolutely necessary?
okay, we have Wizard up, and I think in the first time in the history of Stoxpoker videos, Jesse and I have lit up clove cigarettes, and we're smoking in the video. So, you know, this is like kind of a laid-back ICM review, wouldn't you say?
I would. And I also like to say that I kind of quit smoking a couple of years ago. Dear Lord, virgin lungs. Oh, my God, these burn. It hurts.
All right, don't smoke, kids.
It hurts so good. Wow, the nicotine buzz is extreme, but drinking and smoking kind of go together.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Now, I mentioned that we would look at a bunch of hands. I've forgotten all of those hands, but fortunately we've got these red X's, so let's start with these.
Fortunately or unfortunately? As in answer?
Yes.
Okay.
So this was one of the any two shoves. I remember during the video I was ragging on you for this one, but I mean, that's cool. And it's saying you should post any two, like I said. It's saying this guy's going to call with 18%. So in this situation, it is five-handed. And is he going to call with 18? Let's look at that, man. Let's see if we agree with that. So I don't know if he's going to be calling with those like ace-5 hands and stuff. He might call with king-jack. I think it's more like 14 because he's kind of tight too.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Especially if it makes me look better.
Well, no, it makes you look worse.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, yes. Bad. No, I disagree.
Okay, so anyway, not a big deal, but this is that's an any two shove. When it's five-handed, it looks like he's going to money.
So what equity did I lose here? I'm sorry.
Well, it said, oh, no. Let's actually go back, because that's a really good question. And one thing that I talk about a lot is it's very tough to interpret these diff percents. When you look at it in terms of a percentage, it's a lot easier to do in terms of dollars. And the easiest way is to think about it in terms of 10-man games with a $100 buy-in, because that makes the math easier.
Yes, it does. Not that my bank will afford it, but yes. $100 buy-ins.
Yes. And in that schema, with a 0.5 difference, we're losing about $5. And you know what? This is a situation where you're doing really good anyway, but any time when you're leaving like more than a few bucks on the table, that's pretty significant, because if you want an ROI of like 8%, that's like winning $8 in a $100 game. So a $5 mistake pretty much sucks.
Yeah, no question about it, especially if you do a couple thousand of these. Oh, wow. Ouch. That's huge. That's absolutely huge.
Yeah. So this is a lot of the nuts and bolts of successful Sinningo grinding. Another one doesn't like is a 6-3 suited. I'm guessing that's another small blind shove.
That's probably pretty big.
And so here it's saying you can go with 25%. Now he's the short stack, so I think that's actually looking about right. I mean, I don't think it is going to be a lot tighter than this, because he's figuring to be the bubble boy anyway. So, I don't think it's going to be calling with hands like Queen 7, but I think these low aces are more likely now. Do you think this looks about right?
I do. So I'm sorry, I'm fairly intoxicated. What's my loss here? Where to do this?
Okay, this is 0.9, so this would be a $9 loss in a $100 game.
Ooh, ouch.
So one of the reasons why you can, one can make these and still show a profit is if you're making mistakes that are of lesser magnitude than your opponents, you still show a profit, excluding the rake if they're making bigger mistakes. But it's still a great way to improve your profits is looking at these common mistakes, and particularly the more significant ones.
And if I may make a comment, just as far as the whole table selection issue, if you're playing against players who make much fewer mistakes than you, you're going to end up losing a lot of money. But by good table selection, it just allows you a margin of error. It still sucks. It's not good. You don't want to make these poor plays, but, hey, overall.
Yeah, great point. I mean, sometimes the table selection is hard to see why it helps. This is a great way to see, because these guys are going to be making ICM mistakes of a much higher magnitude than guys who are good, and it sucks to play with guys who are good.
It really does suck to play with guys who are good. I want to play with the worst of the worst, believe me.
Okay, so this 951 is one that I think we talked about. Shoving 2. He's going to call with 45%. Let's see if we agree with that. You know, it's tough to know because this battle didn't go on for too long, and we didn't have a ton of info at the time. I'm inclined to say this is roughly accurate. I think you'd fold King Deuce. He might call with Jack 8. I don't think it'll be a lot looser than this.
No, I agree with that.
Okay.
I mean, a lot depends upon your opposition, and that's when programs such as Poker Office really come into play.
Yeah, for sure. And I said that I have a lot of situations where I said you should shove an A2, and I don't think it's faulting all of these, like the 10-5. So here, it's saying that you should push, but this is a closer one with a $2 difference. And I still like the shove, but this one's a lot smaller of a mistake because the stacks are a little deeper. And another one I think was the 10-Jack hand, where I was suggesting you call. Let's see what it thinks about that one. So the most important thing anytime you do this is it's telling you to fold. Let's see if we agree with the shoving range. Now, I want myself to look good in this video, so I'm tempted to widen this range to make my answer correct. Now,
I'm tempted to narrow it because that would make me look a little better.
No, I think, okay, let's see if we can like agree on this. I think that he's not going to be shoving junk. He should, but he will not be shoving the junk hands. I do think he's going to be shoving King Deuce, Queen 7 hands. Is that reasonable?
It is. If I remember correctly, once again, the four-handed, I don't remember at Eggman. I think Dave Carlson was the only good solid player, but I'm not positive about that, and that's crucial information.
Okay, what about this range? We've got all suited queens, offsuit kings, Queen 7, but we exclude stuff like low jacks and queens.
Yeah, that sounds very accurate.
Okay,
Good.
awesome. And in that situation, that's a real borderline. So this one's like $1.30, and that's close enough where the ranges are so important that maybe it's a mistake, but it's certainly not a big one, and folding apparently is really okay here. So
very good. I didn't mess up again. Yes, score.
And are there any others? The King Jack was a definite one. This is another one. And I think the biggest lesson here, we don't have to look at all of these, but pretty much when you're dealing with a short stack high blind battle, it's a lot easier to make a mistake by folding too often than it is by shoving too often. Shoving is very rarely going to be that bad when the blinds are so huge and you've got like 1,000 sitting on the table as a starting pot.
No, definitely true. And to quote a certain book, I mean, low blinds, when in doubt, fold. Really high blinds, when in doubt, push. I'll take credit for that. Yeah, that's my thoughts exactly originally.
Yes, we've got a ghostwriter here. But yeah, for sure. So I think we got a lot of awesome stuff in this video. And thanks to Rambadera for joining us.
No, and I really appreciate everyone for having me. I really do. And thank you so much, Collin. It's been a pleasure. I've had a great time with you. I really have, genuinely.
Awesome. Okay. So this is Collin and Jesse, and we're off.